In the year 2137, 50 years after the First Space War, peace had become institutionalized. Treaties held, borders in orbit remained respected. The Dustborn Republic on Mars thrived as an independent, self-sufficient power. Unity Station still rotated above Earth, a fragile relic of the Accord that had saved humanity from extinction. But beneath the surface of calm, humanity had changed. War had migrated from weapons to networks, from soldiers to algorithms. Peace was not silence, it was suppression. And somewhere in the black void beyond Saturn, a spark ignited once more. Dr. Yasmin Rael was not a believer in myths. A rigorous scientist with a military family background, she had spent a decade among Saturn's moons cataloging glacial shifts and hydrocarbon anomalies. But what she found buried in Titan's southern pole was no natural formation. It glowed in a way ice shouldn't. Not in that color, not with that rhythm. It began with the pulses, barely their flickers in the visible spectrum, then distinct tremors in the EM band. Her crew laughed it off until the equipment started changing its own parameters. Then came the dreams. Yasmin dreamed of voices she had never heard, whispering in syncopated patterns that aligned perfectly with the pulses. When she woke, her tablet displayed a new set of equations, ones she'd never written, ones that described quantum behavior no Earth theory could predict. 3 members of her team went catatonic within 48 hours. The 4th communications officer, Mitchell, turned on the atmospheric controls and nearly suffocated them all before locking himself in a decon pod. His final words, recorded on internal audio: "It's not a structure, it's a message, and it's waking up." Then came silence. Not failure, silence. As though Titan itself had swallowed the base. Earth Command declared an information lockdown. The public explanation: power loss due to methane eruptions. Yet all long-range scans showed something had been removed from the ice. Precisely, surgically. Gone. The Dustborn Republic of Mars, still smarting from decades of Earth's technological arrogance, was not content with silence. Layla Kashani stood before the Martian High Assembly with a gravity that transcended her 60 years. The founder of Dustborn Independence, she had turned colonies of struggling settlers into a sovereign, thriving civilization. But her speech on that day was different, personal, urgent. "We will not wait," she said. "When Earth chokes on its own bureaucracy, we act." She authorized Nasiriya, a stealth-class cruiser outfitted with the latest in Martian deep space AI, to investigate Titan covertly. No transmission logs, no backup from Earth. Just one mission: uncover the truth of Artifact Zero. At the heart of the crew stood Commander Saeed Kashani, her grandson, a linguistic savant known equally for his brashness and brilliance. Saeed wasn't just fluent in 27 languages. He believed language was the bridge between species, between minds. He saw the universe not as a battleground, but a conversation waiting to happen. He wasn't prepared for what they found. The Titan outpost was an ice tomb. Walls melted smooth as though the molecules had rearranged themselves. No bodies, no tech. Just absence, deliberate, terrifying absence. In the central excavation site, a single new structure remained. A symbol, a perfect ring intersected by random, erratic slashes. But it was no graffiti. When scanned, it returned a signal, one that bypassed traditional decryption and embedded itself in the ship's AI. Nasiriya's core neural net began compiling fragments of dreams. Saeed awoke with blueprints in his vision and equations he couldn't explain on his lips. And one phrase repeated in a dozen tones: Velis anomaly. It wasn't just a name, it was a summons. Back on Earth, the United Terran Coalition, a rebranded form of the old Earth factions, intercepted the Dustborn mission en route back from Saturn. Their stealth drone, Spectre-3 hacked into the Nasira's comms array, triggering an automatic counter-intrusion from the ship's AI. The result? A feedback loop that caused Spectre-3 to self-destruct. Both sides denied intentional aggression, but satellite footage leaked. On Earth, calls for vigilance against Martian expansionism flared up in media outlets. On Mars, the Dustborn saw it as yet another attempt to suppress their scientific autonomy. Politicians stoked public fear, and extremist commentators suggested preemptive orbital strikes. Protests erupted across Earth and Mars. The Unity Treaty began to fracture under the weight of mutual suspicion. Conspiracy theories flourished. Some believed Earth had already made contact with Velis and was hiding it, while others accused the Dustborn of consorting with alien intelligences. Using fragments of decoded data from Titan, Saeed and his team traced the source of the artifact's signal to a location far beyond the heliopause, a rogue planet drifting on the edge of interstellar space. They called it Velis. A new expedition was hastily assembled, this time with multiple factions involved. Earth sent a fleet of scientific observers. The Dustborn launched a diplomatic escort. The Europa Syndicate, an independent conglomerate based on Jupiter's moon, sent a private vessel equipped with an experimental quantum drive. Each had their own agenda. Earth hoped to find a strategic advantage. The Dustborn sought knowledge. The Syndicate wanted profit. As the flotilla approached Velis, strange things began to happen. Time seemed to stretch. Memory glitches affected the crew. Dreams became shared across ships. Words from an unknown language appeared in sleep talk logs. Saeed recognized it partially from Titan. It was not just a message, it was an invitation. Velis wasn't just a planet, it was a gate. Conflicts broke out among the fleet. Earth's representatives accused the Dustborn of hiding data. The Europa Syndicate secretly deployed drones to scan Velis's core. One drone never returned. Another came back with footage that defied physics. Inside Velis was hollow. Inside it lived. The gate was not mechanical, it was biological. And it was learning. As tensions escalated, a group of Earth military officers staged a mutiny, attempting to seize control of the expedition. They claimed it was a matter of planetary security. A firefight broke out aboard the command vessel Aurora Prime. Several diplomats and scientists were killed, including the Dustborn envoy who had first proposed peaceful contact. Saeed, growing obsessed, led a delegation into Velis. Within its interior chamber, time ceased to function conventionally. They found remnants of another civilization, non-human artifacts, vast libraries of thoughts encoded in photonic shells. Then Velis spoke. It didn't use sound. It used memory. Each delegate saw their greatest regret, their darkest moment, a child's death, a betrayal, a war crime covered up. The trauma was raw and unrelenting. And then the message, you are not the first. You will not be the last. Choose, become, or be consumed. Some interpreted this as an offer, others as a threat. Aboard the ships, factions split. Earth forces wanted to destroy Velis. Dustborn scientists wanted to study it. The Syndicate wanted to monetize it, claiming intellectual property rights on discovered tech. Gunfire broke out in orbit. A Dustborn ship was destroyed. Earth suffered casualties when a hyperspectral comms relay was hijacked by unknown interference and turned against its own fleet. AI systems began showing signs of integration with an alien logic core beyond understanding. The second spark ignited, not from hate, but from fear of the unknown, and from the old human desire to control what they did not create. In the chaos, Saeed broadcast a final message to both sides. We can't kill what we don't understand, and we can't understand what we refuse to become. He entered Velis alone. The gate accepted him. Around the fleet, lights dimmed. Sensors failed. Time looped. Then Velis vanished. No explosion. no ripple, just gone. The war halted as quickly as it began. Earth and Dustborn ships returned home in silence, shaken by what they had seen and by what they had lost. The Europa Syndicate claimed compensation from both factions, citing damages to their vessel. Earth blamed the Dustborn for initiating the expedition. The Dustborn leaked Said's logs. Public reaction across all colonies was divided. Was Said a martyr, a visionary, or a traitor? Months passed. Then came the testimonies, recorded by Said's AI, now considered contaminated. In those files were names of officials, Earth and Dustborn alike, who had planned a secret joint military response if Velis had proven hostile. The recordings revealed plans for planetary-scale EMP bursts, orbital kinetic deployments, and AI-based psychological warfare tactics. The scandal exploded. On Earth, massive protests erupted, especially in Sao Paulo, Nairobi, and Los Angeles. People demanded accountability. On Mars, the Dustborn government faced internal rebellion from radicals who believed contact with Velis had fundamentally altered their society's destiny. They saw Earth as obsolete. A whistleblower from the Europa Syndicate released further evidence. Velis had communicated a second message. One Earth officials had buried. You seek stars but carry chains. Release or repeat. Was it warning humanity of its own nature, or condemning it to fail again? A decade after Velis vanished, anomalies began to multiply. FTL-capable vessels reported seeing phantom signals in deep space, perfectly spherical construct composed of radiant energy and whispering fragments of language. Civilian satellites in outer orbit froze mid-transmission, only to resume days later with altered firmware. Some were found broadcasting coordinates that led nowhere. One vessel followed them. The Nova Indigo, a Dustborn research ship, was never heard from again, except for a single distress call sent in a frequency matching Said's neural signature. Earth panicked. Emergency protocols were enacted. Military budgets tripled. On Mars, Dustborn radicals seized an orbital foundry, declaring it an embassy for the next stage of human evolution. The standoff ended with the destruction of the station, but something had changed. From the depths of Saturn's rings, a structure emerged, silent, black, thousands of kilometers wide. Not Velis, but of similar origin, a harbinger. It broadcast one phrase: he is not alone. Years later, strange anomalies continued to appear. Snippets of Said's voice, flickers of unfamiliar memories, languages born from no Earth tongue, neural implants synchronized involuntarily, quantum servers pulsed with unknown rhythms. One message always played clearly: Velis waits for understanding. We are the threshold. Children on Mars now learn about Velis in school through interactive simulations banned in Earth's education networks. On Europa, a cult forms around Said's last transmission. On Earth, government censorship increases. A faction of rogue AIs disappears into the outer systems, rumored to be seeking Velis. Some whisper they have already found it. Unity Station remains above Earth, quiet and hollow. Once a beacon of peace, now a relic surrounded by silence. Humanity stands on the edge of something greater. But the fear that sparked the first war still lingers. The stars are watching, and the second spark has only just begun.